All right, welcome everybody. We're here to have information about your qualifying exam. So we're going to be spending a little time together talking about what we planned for today and some key details that you need to have. And please, if there's anything that is not clear, feel free to just ask questions. If I don't know the answer and Dr. Murillo is not there to know the answer, we will get back to you. So don't worry about that. Um, I want to know, first of all, let me get started. So tonight, the goal, this is really true. The goal is to remove any uncertainty and reduce anxiety about the qualifying exam. I know a lot of people worry about this, but we're going to talk about the details, right? What you're going to learn tonight is what's the format? What are the logistics? How can you study for this to be successful? What are the writing expectations, grading, and timeline? That's what you want to know. So you're 1 month away from the actual qualifying exam. So you're going to have time for this. Okay. And for us, it's very true. Our goal is to be supported, to help you, because we want you to be successful. And it is all about applying what you have learned in 4 courses. That's what it is. And you're going to have the questions now, tonight, so you can practice with that. And this is a fact that you should know. Recent cohorts largely pass on that first attempt. So you don't have to stress too much. Just be prepared. That's what we want, right? So I'm going to put it in presentation mode, I think. Hopefully it'll work well so you can see it bigger. Let me see how I can do this right here. And that way you can see that better. If something is covered up by the format, that's why we don't like to do presentation modes. Let me know so I can tell you if something is not kosher, okay? Okay, so let's keep going. We're gonna go to the next thing. Oh, this is a reminder. Dr. Ortiz wanted me to make sure that I told you this. All program updates and announcements are gonna continue to be posted on Teams. So you do have to really get in the habit of checking Teams regularly. That is a communication channel. So you need to make sure that happens, okay? That's what from her. And then second, you're going to have to submit Form 3 in order to be cleared for the qualifying exam. And then after passing, you have to have Form 4 to advance to candidacy. And they're both required, okay? So make a note that you have to have Form 3 and 4 and Form 4. Try to say that 3 times in a row to be able to advance to candidacy. So with that said, we can get started now. And this is how it works. This is like the behind the scenes piece, right? The faculty that you have had 4 different courses, they submit a case-based problem of practice and rubrics to us, right? And they tell us, okay, this is for PK-12 and this is for the community college or higher ed students. We are going to draw 4 study questions. So I'm going to show you tonight 4 study questions for each track. It says email on October 16th, but I'm going to give you the preview tonight. And then you're going to be able to study for those. But look, on exam day, on November 15th, you're only going to receive 3 of the 4 questions, and they're going to be randomized. So it could be that Maria receives these 3 questions and then Angel is going to receive a different set of 3 questions. But of course, they're going to be overlapping because the pool is only 4 questions, right? So that's how we do it. That's like the behind the scenes. And the prompts align with the core courses that you already took. So your teachers are the ones that submit those. So it's nothing, no mystery to that. The directions are explicit about what you have to write about. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to. Then the actual test. It's the logistics, right? And see what happens. But I'll have to bring your photo ID and please, Dr. Maria, if
Dr.
I'm
Beck,
saying something
you're
that is
breaking
not
up. Like
correct,
we only
let me
hear
know.
every other word you're saying.
What? No. Okay, let me see.
Yeah. Like
Let
right
me
now
do
your image is
something
frozen
different.
on the screen. Maybe it's just me, but others maybe confirm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the same for me too.
Okay, let me see what I can do.
You could always turn off the video screen so it's only the audio that uses less bandwidth.
Okay,
There you go. We can hear you.
you can hear me now? Is it
Yes.
still breaking up?
No, it's
No?
clear now.
Okay, thank you for that. I should have put optimize, but okay. So let's do it like this then. So that day, you can read it too. So, but I apologize for the breaking up. So it's all of you are going to be in one room and it's going to be random seating and they're going to be proctors to review the instructions and for timekeeping. We don't allow tech at your desk, no laptops, tablets, smartwatches, phones. They're going to be collected at the front of the class when you come in. And the lab computers that you're going to be using have no internet, but they do have Word with spell check. So you're going to be able to use that to write your answers. And you can bring snacks and water if you need that, of course, It's not going to be in a different room, it's going to be in the same room in the back. But of course, be aware that you cannot be munching in the room while everybody's taking that assessment, that qualifying exam, because it would be very disruptive to people. You can have
Maybe quiet
restroom.
snacks. Quiet
Yeah,
snacks.
quiet snacks, that's right. And you, of course, can have restroom breaks when you need that, but we just let one person at a time. So that's what creates more of the stress than anything else is the logistics of the assessment. Okay. And there's Caitlin. Let's see. Somebody better tell Jenna that they have to be quiet snacks. Okay, sounds good. We'll make sure Jenna brings quiet snacks.
And
All
I know
right.
it seems a little weird that you have to bring your photo ID. Yes, we know who you are, but if we're audited or somebody asks if there's any problems or questions, we just want to go by the book. So please, bring your ID.
That's right. And the most important thing is this, how to study, right? We want to encourage you greatly to form study groups to discuss those scenarios that you're going to have and approaches, because then the more you talk about it, the more it'll make sense. And that's what you want to do. When you are trying to figure something out, the more you speak about it, the easier it'll be to write about it. So do not try to memorize identical responses. That never works. Don't pre-write it thinking you're going to remember exactly. I'm one of those people that say I have photographic memory until I'm in front of a test. Then all the photos leave my brain. I am totally not able to do it, right? So you don't want to have identical answers because obviously if you have that, then you could fail for academic dishonesty because we think, oh, you watch your neighbor, right? Which I know nobody would do that, but we don't want you to be having these canned answers that you're going to have
If
that are the same.
if I can chime in, if that's okay, Dr. Beck.
Of course, of
Um,
course.
um, by all means, get together as a group and maybe write out outlines and ideas. Um, but just make sure that what you write is different enough from somebody else, because then it does look suspicious, right? Not that we suspect anybody, but we want to be able to say without any doubt, this is your legitimate, authentic writing voice. That you're the author.
Yeah, absolutely. And for this, we don't need you to have a perfect APA style where you're going to use full citations and no, we just need you to use the author and year from the course readings that you have. It's all about the courses that you took, right? And we don't want you to bring in other sources. Just use the sources that you got from the class. So it's time for you to review class notes, your summaries, so you can connect the prompts to those course frameworks and strategies. So basically, you're going to write, you're going to prepare, but don't memorize anything. Just talk about it with your peers and have like an outline of what you're going to say, right, during that assessment. So you're free to write that day without worrying about memorizing something. All right. And then what are the writing expectations and time management? Don't write your name on your assessment, just so you know. We're gonna assign you a number because it has to be a blind review, right? And then we want you to have 2 to 3 double-spaced pages per question. So plan on that. We don't want one paragraph and you go, oh no, I don't have anything else to talk about. If you're prepared, you're going to have plenty because this is about what you learned, but also about your application, right? So completeness and clarity matter most. If we can't understand what you wrote, it might have been that in your mind you had amazing thoughts, but it has to be clear when we see it in writing. Um, this is a recommendation to start with a 10-minute outline for all 3 responses in the blue book. It was not the blue book, but it's on the computer. And then use those as bullets or headings. This is a great strategy because as you start getting involved in the first question that you're writing, you're going to be all over there. And then when you have to go to the other 2, you're going to be, oh no, what was that? Because you were involved in the first one. So start with that outline for all 3 responses because that's going to make
Yeah. And
you
you
more
don't need to bring
successful.
your own blue book. We will
Oops,
supply
sorry.
the blue books for you. So you don't need to bring a blue book. We'll have that for you. But I think it's a really good strategy, as Dr. Beck said. It's so, in all the years we've done this, this one thing is no one's ever failed, right? That doesn't mean that anybody won't fail, but no, but if you're prepared and you've done your due diligence, you're not going to fail. Um, where at times students have had to maybe repeat a question or something is because they've run out of time. So I think that's why it's a good strategy. It is, and I did this too when I've done my comps long time ago. The first 10 minutes or whatever, you write down the outline, and if you can do all 3, then there's nothing wrong with taking the first 20 minutes to do that. That way you just fill it in, but you gotta always keep your eye on the clock. Make sure you pace yourself so you can complete all 3 by the time it's over with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great strategy. I use it myself in all the assessments that I've had to do. It's better to just spend the time in your outline and then the writing is going to flow. It's a lot easier, but always leave those 5 to 10 minutes at the end to proofread and, just to make sure everything is clear and is grammatically correct and that you had a good transition here. Otherwise, if the reader gets lost, that's a problem, right? So make sure you have those. Sometimes you leave a word out, then stick it in there so it's okay and makes sense. So that's basically what that. So what happens in the grading? I don't know why my formatting went all over crazy. Anyway, the grading and results. So after your exam is done, all the files are saved onto the computer you use, right? It's going to be an anonymous, like I mentioned before, blind review. The names are not there. You just put numbers. So each response that you wrote is going to be read by 2 faculty using rubrics. We're not giving you the rubrics, but that's what they're gonna do, so we can be fair. Everybody's gonna use, those faculty are gonna use the same rubrics. These are the scores. Each question gets either a 0, a 1, or a 2. In order to pass, you're gonna need a 1 or a 2 from both readers, okay? So 0, 1, 2, 0 is doesn't meet, 1 is meets, and 2 exceeds. And like I mentioned already, you need a 1 or 2 from both readers. If you get a 0, right, one of them is a 0, then a third reader will get involved, will read the stuff, and then we'll say, okay, what it is. But if you get 2 zeros, then you have to retake that section, okay? And you have to do that within 60 days. So the results typically are ready in 2 to 3 weeks. And this is the thing, once you pass, now you can work, it's called you're advancing to candidacy. So now you can start working on your dissertation. This whole thing is about a milestone. It's about showing us that you're prepared to move on to the next level, which is advancing to candidacy. Before this, you are going to have already decided who's your chair, who's going to be the second reader, who's going to be your community person, and you already submitted that form before the qualifying exam. You have to have your committee, but you haven't started working with them yet. So after you pass, that's when you communicate with your chair immediately and you start going full blown. It otherwise is like we go, well, you might have worked on 3 chapters and then you don't pass a qualifying exam. That wouldn't be good. Okay, so just so you know, this is the why there. Why do we do it like this? Okay, so these are some key reminders, okay? All 4 study questions are the same per track. So everybody in that track will get those 4 study questions, but the day of the test, you're only gonna have 3 and they're randomized per person, right? It's not like everybody gets the same 3 questions as I explained earlier. You have to cite the author year from the course materials only. Don't be an overachiever and getting outside sources for the exam. Not the time to do this. Wait for your lit review. No personal tech, right? Nothing. Non-electronic earplugs may be permitted at the proctor's discretion. And then plan a post-exam debrief lunch with your peers. You've got this. You can do this, okay? And we're here for you. So with that said, let's see if we have any questions. I'm going to stop sharing. Let me look at your faces, at your beautiful faces, and how we're dealing with this. See a couple smiles. Jenna, did you hear the message about snacks? That they have to be quiet snacks?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make
None
sure.
of your Nutter Butters and
I
all of
know.
that and
I'll
your
snack ahead of time, don't
chips.
worry.
Kaylin said we needed to remind you somehow. So, all right, let's see.
There's got to be
Any
some
questions?
questions. I'm sure there's
I
questions.
know.
I know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I watched a previous video and they said that it was okay to bring non-Bluetooth headphones in to block out noise. Is that still the case?
We've done in the past. We've allowed that to happen. Some people have like sensory, and they just want to shut everything out, and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. Noise blockers, I guess, right? Noise canceling headphones, but they
I have a
cannot be
question too.
Bluetooth. Yeah, go ahead.
So in the event that we get passing scores for each of the questions, when we get the results, is it just informing us that we passed, or do we get a feedback on the individual scores we got for each question?
Great question,
Yeah.
Dr. Murillo.
Yeah, there's no feedback. It's basically the faculty reads it and they give you a number. It's that, you know,
But do we know what number we received, or do we just know like we passed and that's it?
You're just gonna know that you passed.
Okay, so we could
Yeah.
have gone all ones on all questions, and we would
Yeah.
never know, right?
Yeah. We just
Okay.
because it's basically pass, no pass, right?
Okay.
I have
The
a
only
que-
time, the reason why we have the number system is that if we need to break a tie, right?
That's
So like
right.
let's say you got a two from one person, you got a zero from another person. Well, what's going on? That's like, you know, so but that's all internal. All you gotta do is you gotta just write your three responses, and then two faculty they're gonna read it. They have a rubric, right? So they're not just reading it. I mean, there's a little bit, there's some science involved, right? They got a rubric. Um, but uh but we don't report back the numbers.
Okay.
There's really no, I mean, there's really no benefit in it, you know. I know maybe you think, well, how well did I do? How well did I not do? But um our um our strategy is just it's basically it's just pass no pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
And you
question.
know, if it's important to you to get a two, then when they give you the results and they say you passed, you're gonna go, man, I aced that. I got twos all around. Because nobody will know, right? So it's okay. It's okay. And get used to that rubric because at the end, when you're defending your whole dissertation and you're doing that, the rubric is the same, 0, 1, 2. So it's the kind of rubric that we use. If you get ones and you meet everything, it's awesome. When you get a two, you exceeded all expectations. So you don't have to exceed all expectations for everything. Just if you meet, if you have ones, it's good. It's a good thing. Okay.
I have a
Maria, you
question.
had your hand up. Yeah.
Yes, I have a question. So it's a 4-hour test and we're able to do a 10-minute outline for each on the blue book, and then the rest is going to be on the computer. And do we have to print everything out, or is the computer gonna have our name on I'm not sure how are you gonna know that it's us?
Yeah, it's a number system.
What's the number? Mhm.
So that way someone can say, well, I don't like Maria, you know, maybe a faculty who has something out against you or whatever. So it's
Never.
just a number. Um, we're gonna save it. Um, I'm sure we'll probably do the same thing we've done in the past. We save it 2 times.
Okay,
Um, because then after a few days we'll have to erase it from the hard drive of the computer you're using. And in years past we have printed it out. So we print it out and like as a backup.
okay.
Yeah.
And then we have
Yeah.
an hour for each question, and will there be a clock in there? Because we can't
There'll be a
take
clock
more.
in there.
Okay,
And then as we get closer to the end, we'll say um 45 minutes, and then 30 minutes, and then 15 minutes, and then you have 5 minutes. We got to wrap it up. But there's clocks in there, so you can see for yourself. Yeah.
okay.
If provided
Those are
that
good
you
questions.
do an outline, you don't have to, but that's just our recommendation. But if you do an outline for yourself, um, and then you can answer each question, and you can just um I mean, if you see that you're taking too much time on one particular question, then you run the risk of running out of time. So you just have to uh, s- answer enough for each, because we've seen that in the past where the only time like I said, no one's ever failed. But if you were to fail, you only have one more chance to take it. So there's only two chances. But on the occasions where, let's say, a faculty does not give full credit, like you get a zero, is because it was just not enough. They ran out of time.
Yeah, so you'll be fine. You have plenty of time. You'll be okay.
Is there a specific amount of resources that we need to memorize? So like, do we need to
don't want
have
you
like the what?
we don't want you to memorize things, but so do you want to see an example of a question?
I guess my question is, okay, let's say there's a reading from one of our very first classes by
Mhm.
Google 2025, right? Common
Mm-hmm.
2025. Do we have to remember that from the article and like, oh, this is what I read and this is the author and this is the year? Or can we bring like a list of like, okay, this is the name of what I'm going to use, but this is the article that I remember?
Yeah, if I may, Dr. Beck, I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah, so it is worth memorizing to a certain extent, right? You don't want to memorize like a speech where you're memorizing everything, because we're looking at your working knowledge, right? So we're assessing your working knowledge. So provided that you show that you know enough. I mean, these are courses that you've taken. Just kind of show the reader that you know enough. You don't have to include every little detail, every little nuance. But it is good in general. It's a good idea to memorize last names and years, right? You can say Delgado 2024. You know, that part, yes, I think it's worth memorizing. If that's what you mean, right?
Yeah, I would say though, Caitlin, it's not about memorizing a bunch of names. It's about making your case, right? Whatever it is that you're going to be writing about, that's who you want to remember. Is whatever is going to provide that structure to what you're saying, that evidence to what you're saying. So that since you're going to be practicing those responses, then you plan it out. Oh, I'm going to talk about this because it's not a surprise. You already know the questions. You already know what you're going to have to be writing about. So you can plan it that way. You don't have to go, I wonder if, no, because you already have the questions. So that might help ease that.
Thank you.
Other questions? Let's see if I turn my camera on, if I start going, Let's see. Am I shaky now? No. Can you hear me? Any other questions?
Yeah, what are the questions?
Oh, you want another questions? Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can put them in the chat. I can try.
The question is, what are the questions?
I know.
It's you know, Dr. Beck's gonna send you the questions later on tonight or tomorrow morning. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. And it's no like secret. It's just that's the protocol. It has to be 30 days before. So today's 30 days before. In years past, we've had up to 5 possible questions and you get 3. And this year you guys are lucky. There's 4 possible. Study for all 4, but you're only going to have to answer 3 of them. And then it's all randomized. So each one of you individually is going to get 3 out of the 4 questions, but there'll be a different random set than the person sitting next to you. So don't look at
So
their screen.
Kaylin and Jenna are not going to get the same 3. I'm joking. We don't know who is going
Yes,
to be
ma'am.
randomized. Yes.
Oh
So there you
man,
go. Take a moment.
no quantitative research question. I'm so
You guys got
This is where
lucky.
you need to stop because they
Thank
can
God,
fix
thank
it.
God, thank God.
So this is what we do is it's all randomized. So you've taken a bunch of core courses. So we randomly picked the 4 core courses. So you got lucky. There's if quantitative causes anxiety, there's no quantitative question because it was randomized. But that's not to say that next year we'll do the same thing. So maybe next year that cohort will get the quantitative question.
I think we lost them all. They're looking at the questions.
Yeah, that's fine.
I had a question. I came late, so I might have missed it. I'm sorry. If I
That's
don't
okay.
pass, when would the retest be, and would it be new questions?
It's well, they are scenario questions. So if you read the questions here, there's scenarios, right? So you'll be given another scenario, but the rubric is the same thing, right? Kind of show the reader that you paid attention, right? During the course. Kind of,
Yeah.
So the scenario will change, but it's the same rubric, you have to show the same working knowledge, right? That you have a working knowledge of it.
So you would have to retake that section. Okay, so it's not an all or nothing. So you retake that section and you have 60 days to do that, to retake the assessment, if that helps.
So make sure you do Form 3. I think this was mentioned already. Do your Form 3. That you can already do that, right? Form 3. And then as soon as you get the notice that you've passed, fill out Form 4. And then this was already mentioned, but I'll just want to reiterate. So right now you're students, you're doctoral student. So you can change your, if you have this on your email signature, you can change it from doctoral student to doctoral candidate. So then that's like the next level.
Yeah. Angel is all over it. He says, I'm gonna change mine. Is there a difference for students who may have accommodations?
Well, it kind of depends on your accommodation.
Yeah.
Right. So far I haven't received I think anything from the disability center,
Office.
but I can double check. But okay, well, let me see, Jasmine. Let me find out here. Give me
Yeah.
a second here. Keep talking and I'll see if I have something from the disability.
Yeah, we just have to get the official notice. That's all. Look at for an email from Becky Enrique. All right, any other questions?
Can I
You
give
guys
Dr.
wanna get
Murillo a
started?
breakfast burrito or a burrito to pass me?
I don't know. I'm too new to answer that question.
I
No,
haven't
but we're here
received
for you.
I haven't received anything for from services to students with disabilities. So Jasmine, if you want to email us separately and then just kind of you know I mean, you don't have to tell us exactly, but everything has to go through the services to students with disabilities to make it official.
Yes. Any other questions?
If we have a personal question, would we ask, can we email you, Dr. Murillo and Dr. Beck?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll email you.
Absolutely. Anything you need, you guys, we want you to be successful. That's our goal, right? For you guys to be successful. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this eases a little bit of the anxiety about this assessment. Just don't think about it as a test. Think about it as a benchmark. You're going to demonstrate what you have learned in your first year, right? And that's why these questions are based on the courses. They're not even outside of what you had to do, not on the assignments you had to do for the courses, but actually what you worked with your professors, right? On. And that way, if you think about it that way, you're just demonstrating that you were paying attention, you were taking notes, that you were serious about this. And now you have an opportunity to practice that and talk about it. I'm serious. I don't know how many of you are thinking about this, but when you talk about something, it stays with you, and your thinking becomes more clear. The more people you talk about, hey, you can talk about all kinds of people, but your cohort is your first line, right? Talk to them because they understand what you're talking about. And after you feel comfortable with that, then talk to anybody you know. Seriously, you know what I have been learning about, and just talk to anybody you want, because your ideas will be consolidating that way. It's just
And
the way we
they're
learn.
not trick questions.
No.
Right? So you have the questions there. I assume Dr. Beck, you also send them in a formal email. But you can see
Yes.
there if you read them, they're not trick questions. They're directly from the course. And I think it's a good strategy what Dr. Beck said. Just talk about it.
Mhm.
Conversation, make outlines. You guys can do an outline. Just be careful not so that your responses are not identical, or too identical to your neighbor, because then it looks suspicious. Um,
I'm going to send you the PowerPoint, and I'm going to send you the questions in an email. Okay, so just know that we're here for any additional questions you might have, anything you need. We will, like I said, if we haven't dealt with that before, we're going to find out. So you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that. Let us
And-
worry about that.
And something that I forgot to mention earlier is in years past, we've had students who they're actually amazed with themselves. They actually say, wow, I didn't realize I learned that much or I knew that much. And so you'd be surprised how much you know. Once you put your mind to it, you all have become experts in some way. And so you just have to kind of stand this tall. You just gotta show enough evidence to the reader that you have working knowledge. You don't have to memorize every little thing.
Mhm.
But you actually will, at the end of this, you'll actually be surprised, like, wow, I really, really do have acquired a lot of knowledge. And then in years past, cohorts go and they go have lunch somewhere. So don't forget to invite us if you have lunch somewhere.
So that is it. The mystery is over. You have the questions, you have the instructions. I'm going to send an email right after this. And like I said, if you go, oh, I should have asked, just ask, and we will be happy to
There you
respond.
go. On the day of, remember, you're bring your ID, and then you're gonna get like a folder, like a little packet, with your number on it, and then you open it up, and you're gonna see the 3 questions, which are the same 3 that you're studying for, except you're studying for 4, but you're gonna have the same 3 out
Yeah,
of
we
that
don't
4.
alter it. We don't make it sound like the question. It's exactly 3 of the 4 questions that you're seeing. Already? Well, it's 6:41. So Angel said, bye-bye, we're leaving. So if you don't have any more questions, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to send an email to you guys. But I just want to say, go cohort 18. You can do this. You're going to be amazing, and you don't have to worry. And if you have any worries, we're here for you. So anything you need, please let us know. All right?
Thank
Have
you
a
so
great evening, you guys. No problem.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.